Hello guys, in this video we will be discussing how you are going to systematically cover your GS paper 1 for your mains. Okay, see, one of the biggest complaint or the question that I used to get from many UPSC aspirants, from my mentees also, with respect to GS1. So the GS syllabus is too vast. If you look at, history is vast and geography is vast and society is unpredictable, art and culture seems endless. And because of that itself, many students, they keep reading GS1, but they never feel prepared for that paper. See, the problem is actually not the size of GS1. The problem is the way most of the students approach the subject, right? The paper. See, most aspirants prepare GS1, chapter wise. But what I've seen from my mentees who have topped this exam, who came in first hundreds like Vikas or Rohin or Sonali or Kiran or Sachin, they prepare GS1 theme wise instead of chapter wise or topic wise. And with respect to this, I have already discussed in a general way for all the GS subjects, but here also we'll be focusing on the same thing. And that is a single biggest difference, and that changed everything. And that separate an average student from a topper. So, see, many students, when they begin their preparation, they ask, which book should I read, right? But that is actually the wrong first question. The real question that you should ask first is, what exactly should I prepare from the syllabus? Because no book can tell you that. If you look at modern history, what the syllabus is saying, significant events, the personalities, and issues. Now ask yourself, how many personalities you can study and you can remember, how many events from history you can study and you can remember and you can retain, how many issues. And the syllabus is not specifying about that. This is so vast and so general. Any standard book also, if you take, it doesn't specify any of this. And this is why many students, they complete an entire book, but still they don't know whether they are prepared for the mains actually, and whether they are ready for the exam or the questions that you're going to get in your mains. So what we are looking for is, what strategy that I'm going to give you is for a kind of three-layer preparation for GS1. So what we'll do is, every GS1 topic should be prepared in this three layers. First, we will look at the syllabus, and then we will understand the theme, how we'll do that from the previous year questions, and then we integrate it with current affair. So we have a syllabus which is given by UPSC, and we already have previous year questions which has been asked by UPSC. Of course, previous year questions may not be repeated word to word, but the themes repeat, the thinking pattern repeat, right? So what UPSC is demanding from that, you understand that, right? And then we integrate it with current affairs. And these are the three layers put together that can convert your broad, vast syllabus into a kind of exam-oriented content. And this is what my toppers have done before, right? So what is the first layer? The most important one, that is understanding the syllabus. So you have syllabus which give you the direction. It tells you what UPSC want from you. For GS1, there are three broad areas, like you have history and culture, and then you have Indian society and social issues, and then geography. So broadly, you have history, geography, social issues, or Indian society. So this is the broad, division if you want to make. And then within that, within history, we make ancient, medieval, modern, right? And then the post-independence India, art and architecture, world history. This way you will divide the culture part. And then Indian society also will divide into social issues, another dimension. Geography, physical geography, human geography, Indian geography, world geography, that we can divide. But the syllabus only tells you the territory. It does not tell you where UPSC is repeatedly focusing. And that is why I told you theme is very important. How you get that? From previous year question. And that is the second layer which I have told you, right? PYQs actually reveal you the real preparation zone, where you need to focus, where you need to give importance. And most aspirants I've seen, they solve PYQs. But that is not enough. You have to analyze. From that, you need to understand the mindset of UPSC. From that, you need to understand what UPSC is actually demanding. Right? There is a difference in solving MCQ or the previous year questions and analyzing previous year question. So the purpose of previous year question is not to predict the question. The purpose is to identify those recurring themes which UPSC is asking repeatedly, right? The themes repeat. I repeat this. The themes repeat, not the word to word question. And once you analyze this 10, 15 years questions from 2013 onwards, if you look at this last, 13 years questions, you'll definitely see a pattern, and that pattern is very clearly visible to you. And now you should start think in terms of the themes, not in terms of chapters. Any topic you take, whether it is history, see that this is the biggest mistake, that aspirants used to make when you're preparing. If you look at entire modern history, instead of preparing, from different chapters, you look at different themes, right? For example, if you look at the personalities, what are the most important areas repeatedly, what they're the areas that they focus on? Mahatma Gandhi, right? So all the events connected to Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Subhash Chandra Bose, and Jyotiba Phule, Rabindranath Tagore. So it's not because UPSC repeat the question, but because UPSC repeatedly returned to these personalities from different angles. Now, again, if you look at another dimension, this is another recurring theme, that is British policies. So, what are the different possible dimension here? Economic policies, right? The cottage industries and labor systems, administrative systems, constitutional developments. So, when you look at history in this way, the preparation is becoming manageable instead of studying different chapters. So instead of studying everything, you are identifying your preparation zone where you are also going to be comfortable and it is going to be easily manageable also. Now, next one, again, if you look at it, socio-religious reform movements, the peasant movements, the tribal resistance, the Gandhian phase, these are again all recurring micro themes that definitely deserve some focused preparation. Okay, so that's the way you will cover history. Now, coming to art and culture, again, you will have to prepare through repetition patterns. See, art and culture, the issue is that it often feels very random. But even here also, there are patterns which you can identify. Repeatedly, they ask important areas, and that include the Harappan architecture, rock cut architecture, Gandhara art, Chola art, dynastic art traditions. So you notice the shift. So you are no longer studying art and culture. You are studying identifiable clusters, which makes again the preparation very easy for you when it comes to art and culture. Otherwise, it looks like unlimited. Right now, coming to geography. See here, very important. You need to focus a lot on current affairs also. When we discuss about history, not much, but geography completely behave in a different way altogether, right? Because here, previous year question alone is not sufficient. Current affairs will definitely play a very big role when it comes to geography, right? And you see certain geographical phenomena that repeatedly remain important. For example, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic activities, cyclones. So normally a serious aspirant should prepare all these comprehensively. And I've told you anything related to climate, you'll go for a component approach, right? I've told you how to go with a component approach. Then it doesn't matter whatever question you are getting which is related to climate, you will be fixing into that approach which I've discussed with you. Then comes to geography questions. Geography questions follow the themes. If we look carefully, UPSC repeatedly asks, with respect to plate tectonics, right? And then fault mountains, desertification, tectonic activity, mangroves, circumspecific Pacific zone, and geomorphology. So just that the wordings change, but the underlying theme that remains very similar, and that way you can do that. So current affair play a very important role when it comes to geography, and one of the most important area that you need to focus, especially when it comes to geography. In fact, current affair serve two purpose. Purpose one is a news issue itself becomes a mains question. For example, environmental degradation in a mountain range, demographic changes, urbanization pattern. So that itself directly can be a question. It can also be connected with the syllabus, right? Current affair act as an example also. When you're writing, you can give us an example. Or there will be backward linkage. Since the current affair is there, go back to the one which is there in the topic and then they will ask also. Otherwise, when you're asking, current affair is going to give you an example. So this is the two purpose of current affair. For example, a current environmental issue can strengthen an answer on desertification. If you have an environmental concern or issue which is going on in the news and the question is asked on desertification or something which you can directly use as an example, a demographic development can strengthen an answer on population trend if they're asking. So current affair, because of that itself, it's not just merely topics. They are, kind of directly a question. At the same time, these are examples which are a kind of answer enrichment tools. And that's the way you need to use current affair. Now, the most difficult part of GS1, that is society. For me, for my students, sociology students especially, this is going to be definitely easy, or for sociology students in general also, it will be easy. But this is the most difficult part for others, because history you have studied in prelims and you know majority of the area you're familiar. But still many students consider history as difficult, because especially of art and culture, right? Many think geography as difficult, but even people think society is easy because many things are familiar, but these days they are going very technical also, and the fundamental understanding also required when it comes to answering whether caste is fluid or static. You get such kind of question, caste is fluid at the same time static. If you need to answer that, you need to have that fundamental understanding, right? What is actually happening, what is caste before, what is caste now, how it is changing, how it is evolving, everything you should be knowing. So the reality is that it's not history or geography, it is actually society is becoming the most challenging area, because history and geography are very much familiar. Year-long preparation you have done for prelims, but never you did for your society, right? Because again, if you look at history, society, questions are open-ended, but sometimes questions can be deeply fundamental also. Again, most important theme-based questions like intercaste marriage, interreligious marriage, tribal issues, regionalism, globalization, fast and this celebrations, right? And then mobile phones, changing family relations, cultural diversity, Sanskritization, the food culture, fast food culture, nuclear family, problem of aged, problem of women, right? So it looks open-ended, it looks general, but still intercaste marriage, uh, kha panchayat, right? All these are recurring themes and important areas that you need to prepare from Indian society. These questions you cannot answer just with memorization. You need to have a social understanding, right? So you need to have the contemporary examples, you need to have that analytical thinking, otherwise this is going to be difficult. Then see, then the topic on population. It's a perfect example of a dynamic society question. The population is no longer merely about population growth. Today, when it comes to population, the debate permeates through different dimension. Aging population, that is connected to population, problem of aged, problem of child, fertility decline, demographic imbalance, right? And then regional population differences. So that is why society preparation cannot depend on static note alone. You need to have that contemporary example and analytical thinking, and the fundamental principles should be known to you. That is why there is no single book which can prepare you GS1 society also. Many students used to ask me which book should I read. Ramahuja social issues is fine. No, that alone is not sufficient. KL Sharma Indian society and structure is fine. That's in fact sociology paper to students who refer to that book also. So there is no such single book which is sufficient for your society, because see, we evolve just like that. Society evolve continuously, so you need to know social developments from the current affairs, from the analysis that you see everyday life. Policy changes are part of it, demographic trends are part of it, a lot of current examples you need to bring in, and various surveys, its findings, all these you can use to enrich your answers. And if you are a sociology student, don't hesitate to add those concepts which you have studied in social. Don't think that this is general, which I've studied in sociology is not required. That will definitely add value. More technical answer looks more better, more sound, and more professional, so you'll get more mark. The examples that you have learned, for sociology students this is going to be much more easy to enrich your answers, to show that maturity also. Now, what should be your real objective of GS preparation? See, the objective is not just to finish any materials or PDF or any books. The objective is basically to identify the high probability themes, and then you prepare macro themes, micro themes, and then you need to enrich this through the current affair integration. And this transformation, right, that will help you to convert an infinite syllabus into a finite syllabus, or a manageable one at least. Otherwise, if you start working on it on chapter by chapter, topic by topic, it is impossible. Understand the themes, understand the macro theme, micro theme, current affair linkage. That's how you should be doing GS1, right? And in this way, you can easily do GS1. Many aspirants see GS1 as just history, geography, and society. But as I told you, my toppers, those who have done successfully in the last year, top hundreds, I'm talking about them. They see GS1 also different. They very differently. It's same I'll discuss when it comes to other subjects also. So they'll see GS1 not as the syllabus which is given. So a successful candidate see this as a 200 to 250 manageable micro themes, and you prepare that. You integrate current affairs with that. And once your preparation shift from subject or topic or the chapters to themes, macro, micro themes, then GS1 stops feeling overwhelming. You feel very comfortable. You feel very much manageable. And that is the real secret behind systematic GS preparation. That's exactly what is done by my toppers, whether it is Vikas or Kiran or Sonali or Rohin or even Sachin. Right? So this is what I want you to do. In case if you want any help, if you're looking for any mentorship or classes or any test series, get in touch with us. We'll see you there.